Joining us to discuss Elevation Partners, early Facebook and Google investor Roger McNamee. Roger, it's great to see you again. Thanks for the time this morning. You make the point that prior to all of this drama, the setup for Microsoft was pretty ideal, and you think they would love to preserve whatever they can of that.
Well, I mean, to me, Microsoft had a perfect situation because they own 49%, which means they have a huge percentage of whatever upside comes from OpenAI. But while the company's in the development mode, where it's burning billions of dollars on, developing products and trying to commercialize something before its time, Microsoft's piece of that was captured in the form of Azure services. So the expenses of OpenAI were Microsoft's revenue. A similar thing was going on for NVIDIA. Now, if Microsoft winds up having to own OpenAI, or at least employ all the people and have all the expenses, the thing goes from being a short-term positive to a drag on the P&L. And on top of that, they lose the liability shield, right? I mean, you've got Disney complaining about the theft of trademarks and stuff like logos and things like that. All of those things go away. And so in the long run, it probably works out to the same thing. But from a Microsoft shareholder point of view, you really want them to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to figure out some way to keep OpenAI viable. But as you see, the dysfunction is pretty staggering.
How important, Roger, is the original, whatever kernel there was, to motivate that Friday afternoon press release and what they said about Sam?
I mean, they're not telling me, Carl. I mean, I look at this thing as, Sam Altman has a long history. He's had fallings out with a number of partners and bosses in the past. And so the notion that there might have been a lack of trust that had built up there, that doesn't strike me as surprising at all. But to me, it's also not the key issue here. I think as public market investors, you're really focused on the impact on NVIDIA, the impact on Microsoft. And the situation was perfect before the coup on Friday. The situation right now is way less than perfect. It may not turn out to be bad, but think about it being a little bit like the metaverse at Facebook. Obviously, if there'd been an independent company doing all the metaverse investment, all Facebook was getting paid for was to operate the servers. That would have been a much better deal for Meta than what they have now. And you're effectively going to convert OpenAI into a subsidiary of Microsoft. That would be, in the short run, a bad outcome. But, we're going to have to see, because I watched those interviews with Satya Nadella yesterday, and it's pretty obvious he wants to put Humpty Dumpty back together.